Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Christina Schutt, and I am proud to be the Executive Director for the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. I want to welcome you to the opening of this powerful new exhibit, Stories of Survival, Object, Image, Memory. I especially want to thank our numerous community partners here, the Downtown Ambassador, members of our General Assembly and Chamber of Commerce, and others who have joined us to show their support for our educational mission to inspire civic engagement through the diverse lens of Illinois history and sharing with the world the life and legacy of Abraham Lincoln. We could not do this exhibition without each of you, and so we look forward to our continued partnerships in the days ahead as we do programming and other things to connect individuals with these stories. Stories of Survival really tells the stories of people who withstood the worst that life has to offer. Its lessons are both timeless and perfect for this moment in history. This exhibit reminds us that we must be vigilant against violence and compassionate towards the needy. It is perfect for this particular moment because we need stories of hope and perseverance. As we emerge from a pandemic that killed millions, as we watch a growing global refugee crisis due to war and climate conditions, we need reminders more than ever that people can endure, that they can rebuild, and that they can thrive. The Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center did a wonderful job creating this exhibit, and we are proud to share it with you here at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum. I'd now like to ask the Holocaust Museum CEO, Susan Abrams, to speak, after which we will have a special performance.
Good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see all of you here this morning. We're very proud to have the exhibition Stories of Survival at this beautiful and very important museum and to be able to share it with you. I thought I'd start by telling you a little bit about the genesis for this exhibition, how it came to be. In 2016, our museum had in one of our smallest galleries a very powerful exhibition called What We Carried, Stories by Iraqi Refugees. And it was presented by Jim Lomason, a photographer and artist out of Portland. And he wanted to tell those stories of that refugee experience, and he decided to do it through the objects that they brought with them. Those one or two or few things that in a moment, as you're fleeing your homeland, you grabbed. And so, through these photographs, people had written a little bit about what that object meant to them. So you saw teacups, like I have in my cupboard for my grandmother, and somebody took those because it reminded them of family time with their grandparents. There were reading glasses from a parent. There were dominoes, and you'll see the dominoes in this exhibition from somebody fleeing Iraq because it reminded this young man of happier times with friends. And as we walked that exhibition hall back in 2016 with Jim Lomason, we saw the similarities of those objects that were photographed with objects in the museum, in Illinois Holocaust Museum's own collection of people who had fled the Holocaust. And we thought, wow, we could do something like this and use this format to tell the stories of these survivors of the Holocaust. And then the idea got even bigger and better because we realized that our state has such a rich, diverse number of different communities within it, and unfortunately, quite a number that have been genocide affected. And so we were able to tell the stories now in this exhibition, Stories of Survival of the Holocaust, survivors from the Holocaust, and of 7 other genocides and atrocities, Rwanda, Bosnia, Syria, and more, Armenia. So when you enter, you can see those communities, and as you go through, I think what you'll feel most powerfully, I know I do, is that sense of our common humanity. In the space of this exhibition, you can walk in so many other people's shoes and just get a glimpse into that experience and the refugee experience that, as Christina said, sadly, we continue to see throughout this decade, throughout this month, today, and recently it has not stopped the displacement of our fellow human beings from tragedies and other challenging situations around the world. So certainly the messages are as urgent and poignant as ever. And again, thank you for being here to share this with us. And with that, I will, I guess I'll close too, because I do want to end on a hopeful note. And I think that's one thing that I've learned from the wonderful and cherished survivors of the Holocaust who I get to work with quite regularly, is that in spite of having seen the worst that humanity has to offer, they are hopeful and positive and sharing their stories because they want to create a better world for everyone. They are working towards that day when never again is a reality for each and every one of us. And certainly now with the tragedy unfolding in Ukraine, we are seeing this, I think, up close and personal in some ways a new way. And feeling it, but we're also now reading and seeing some of those spots of light. No survivors in any of these stories survived alone. They survived because somebody helped them, perhaps risking their own life or even their whole family's lives to stand up and be that upstander and do something right. So even today, we see those spots of light. And since we're here at this beautiful museum, I thought I'd close with a reference to our President Abraham Lincoln, who noted that we must all be guided by, quote, the better angels of our nature. So I'll leave you with that, and thank you. Back to you.
So at this time, if you're standing in the center of the plaza, if you can kind of step to the side a little bit, as we welcome members of the Dance Creations Dance Studio, directed by Janet Kripe, to the plaza for a very special tribute to victims of the Holocaust. The piece they are performing is titled Yeladim Yashanim, which is Hebrew for sleeping children. Ladies and gentlemen, the Dance Creations Dance Studio.
My name is Nancy Godin, and I'm a survivor of the Holocaust. Little girl, you have to live. You have to promise us that you will teach the world what hatred, indifference, and prejudice can do. What was, we cannot change, but what it is and will be, we can make a difference.
My joy, my love and heart. ladies and gentlemen, again, the Dance Creation Studio Dancers. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the entrance of our Illinois Gallery, where the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce ambassadors will be joined by Director Schutt and Abrams, along with other local dignitaries, for our ribbon cutting ceremony to officially open Stories of Survival.
Welcome to the exhibit, everyone.
Thank you all for attending, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stories of Survival with the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum and the Illinois Holocaust Museum. Have a good morning.